Once upon a time, Gucci wasn't just a brand, it was a lifestyle. It dominated red carpets, defined closets, and reigned as a cultural icon. At its peak, Gucci was synonymous with luxury, exclusivity, and desirability, but then something changed. Sales plummeted, the allure faded, and suddenly the question on everyone's mind was, what happened to Gucci? The answer lies in a fascinating journey through history, filled with triumphs, reinventions, and yes, even some scandals. Let's rewind to 1921 in Florence, Italy, where it all began. Gucci, yes, a real person, not just a catchy brand name, opened a small leather goods shop. His inspiration came from working as a bellhop at the swanky Savoy Hotel in London. Guccio observed the elite travelers and noticed that the wealthy travelers cared about their bags almost as much as their jewels. So he thought, why not create something better? Bags so exquisite they became trophies of luxury themselves, and thus the House of Gucci was born. Wealthy Italians and European aristocrats were captivated by his craftsmanship. By the mid-20th century, Gucci had become synonymous with exclusivity, and its products were as much about status as they were about function. In 1947, during a war-era shortage of materials, Gucci's creativity shone. Instead of traditional leather, the brand introduced the bamboo-handled bag, a design so unique it became a signature piece. In 1953, a horse-bit loafer was introduced. It was a shoe that bridged practicality and elegance. The loafer became so iconic that it now sits in the permanent collection at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. By the 1960s, Gucci had reached international phenomenon status. Jackie Kennedy was often photographed with her Gucci bag, leading to its affectionate nickname, the Jackie. Hollywood royalty from Grace Kelly to Elizabeth Taylor flaunted Gucci's designs, cementing the brand as the ultimate symbol of sophistication. Fast forward to the 1990s, a decade of boy bands, blockbuster movies, and surprisingly, one major Gucci revival. By this time, the brand had lost some of its sheen, years of family drama, and trust me, Gucci family drama could rival any Netflix series, had the company in shambles. Gucci needed a savior, and they found him in the most unexpected of places, a young Texan named Tom Ford. When Ford became Gucci's creative director in 1994, the brand was on life support and on the edge of being irrelevant. But Ford didn't just save Gucci, he made it sexy. His vision for the brand was bold, provocative, and unapologetically modern. Ford understood that luxury wasn't just about looking expensive anymore, it had to be desirable. His designs leaned into sharp tailoring, sleek silhouettes, and just the right amount of scandal. I mean, who can forget that iconic white dress with the cutouts worn by Gwyneth Paltrow at the MTV Movie Awards? It was daring, divisive, and everything Gucci needed to be. Apart from the clothes, Ford genuinely turned Gucci into a lifestyle. The brand wasn't selling bags and shoes anymore, it was selling attitude. Owning Gucci became shorthand for being bold, confident, and, just a little bit rebellious. By the late 90s, Gucci was earning $500 million annually, a staggering turnaround for a brand once on the brink of collapse. Celebrities, supermodels, and pop stars couldn't get enough. From Madonna to Kate Moss, Gucci was everywhere, firmly cementing itself in the cultural zeitgeist. This is considered the peak of Gucci, because at this point, Tom Ford's Gucci wasn't just surviving, it was thriving. For a moment, it felt like nothing could touch it. But as we all know, staying at the top requires more than just good storytelling. Success demands constant reinvention, and oh boy, Gucci got a little too comfortable. Around the 2000s, Gucci's strategy became like that one friend who won't stop bragging about their high school glory days. They leaned way too hard into their monogrammed designs. Bags, belts, shoes, everything was plastered with that double G logo. At first, it worked, people loved it, but then it became overexposed. By the mid-2000s, Gucci felt like that song you once had on repeat but now skip every time it comes on. It was everywhere, and suddenly, it wasn't special anymore. Younger shoppers started side-eyeing Gucci, dismissing it as basic or too mainstream, and then came another mistake: over-licensing. Gucci-branded perfume, keychains, sunglasses, basically you could find a Gucci logo slapped onto just about anything. It seemed like a smart way to widen their reach and rake in more cash, but there is a fine line between expanding and diluting your brand. When luxury starts to feel too accessible, it loses its magic. Gucci, once prized for its exclusivity, suddenly felt like it was on every street corner. The sparkle began to fade, and those were the first real signs of trouble. Fast forward to 2024. Gucci has survived scandals, reinventions, and countless trends, but now the question is, can it stay relevant in an ever-changing luxury market? Enter Sabato Di Sarno, Gucci's newly appointed creative director. All eyes are on him, and for good reason. Sure, his resume is impressive, stints at Valentino and Prada, but he wasn't a flashy hire. Maybe that's exactly why Kering, Gucci's parent company, chose him. Gucci didn't need drama, it needed a visionary, someone who could steer the brand back to its roots while also making it relevant for a new generation. Sabato's first collection was a clear attempt to reset. Clean lines, muted tones, classic silhouettes, it was all about quality, stripping away the excess and focusing on substance. But when you're a brand as big as Gucci, people expect wow moments, and Sabato's debut didn't quite deliver that. In the luxury industry, where trends come and go at the speed of TikTok, delays can be devastating. Customers don't wait for the next collection, they move on. Sabato's first show was met with a lukewarm response, and early sales figures showed that it wasn't enough to reignite the brand's spark. Okay, that's enough about Sabo's debut. Let's talk about the real challenge: millennials and Gen Z. These generations are the holy grail for luxury brands, but winning them over is no easy feat. Back in the day, Gucci's loud logos and bold designs were the ultimate flex, but Gen Z isn't into that anymore. They're not looking for a logo-covered bag to flaunt on Instagram. They're looking for subtlety, sustainability, and above all, authenticity. Hermes don't need to shout about their Birkin bags, they let the craftsmanship do the talking. Meanwhile, Gucci is still leaning heavily on the loud prints and recognizable logos, which just aren't resonating in a world that now values timeless elegance over fleeting trends. Millennials and Gen Z are also activist consumers. They want their purchases to reflect their values, and sustainability is a top priority. Gucci has tried carbon neutrality, the off-the-grid collection with recycled materials, but these moves often come across as more PR than genuine commitment. And come on, today's consumers can smell performative activism from a mile away. However, Gucci's problems don't end there. Asia, especially China, is Gucci's biggest market, accounting for around 50% of its revenue. But the economic shutdown in 2024 hit luxury spending hard, and Gucci felt the impact first. The brand's reliance on young, aspirational shoppers in the region backfired when spending habits shifted. People started prioritizing necessities over luxury goods, and even those with money to spare weren't looking Gucci's way anymore. Let me just say it straight: Gucci is losing the game to its competitors. Hermes has nailed the art of staying true to their brand identity while evolving with the times. They don't rely on flashy campaigns or celebrity endorsements. Instead, they bank on craftsmanship and scarcity. Remember earlier when we talked about the Birkin bag? It's a status symbol that's almost impossible to get. That kind of exclusivity creates demand that no amount of marketing can replicate. Bottega Veneta is another great brand. Under Matthew Blasi, they've quietly stolen Gucci's thunder with their minimalist, understated elegance. They've become the go-to brand for consumers who value subtlety over showiness. Even within its own parent company, Kering, Gucci is struggling to stand out. Brands like Saint Laurent and Balenciaga have found their niches and are thriving, while Gucci is stuck in an identity crisis, trying to be everything to everyone and losing itself in the process. So, we've talked about the problems, but what's Gucci actually doing to turn things around? One of Gucci's most notable moves has been its investment in innovative marketing campaigns. Collaborations with pop culture icons like Harry Styles and Billie Eilish have been at the forefront. The idea is clear: tap into the cultural zeitgeist and connect with younger, trend-conscious consumers. On paper, it's a brilliant strategy, but as we talked about earlier, these collaborations often feel like fleeting PR stunts rather than a genuine redefinition of the brand. Sure, they generate a ton of buzz, but buzz fades quickly. Gucci needs something more enduring, something that sticks in people's minds long after the campaign ends. Another major play has been Gucci's embrace of digital innovation. They were one of the first luxury brands to step into the metaverse, launching virtual sneakers and hosting digital fashion shows. This is debatable, of course. Virtual fashion may be a glimpse into the future, but For now, it feels more like a novelty than a driver of serious revenue. And if we're being honest, Gucci doesn't have the luxury, pun intended, of waiting for novelty to pay off. They need immediate solutions. That said, it's clear Gucci is actively trying to modernize, from experimenting with celebrity collaborations to emphasizing sustainability and inclusivity. The brand is throwing just about everything at the wall to see what sticks. So, can Gucci stage a comeback? Absolutely, it's not out of the realm of possibility, but it's going to take more than trendy campaigns and digital experiments. Gucci needs to double down on loyalty, innovation, and most importantly, authenticity. The key lies in balance. Gucci has to modernize while staying true to its timeless appeal that once made it iconic. It can't afford to lose sight of what luxury truly means in its quest to reinvent itself. Because if it doesn't find that balance, and soon, it risks becoming just another luxury brand that used to be cool. And that's a wrap. What do you guys think about Gucci's current strategy? Is it enough to bring the brand back to the forefront of luxury fashion? Or is it time for a completely new direction? And what lessons do you think Gucci can learn from competitors like Hermes or Bottega Veneta? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Before you go, don't forget to check out the recent video, The Terrible Fall Down of Burberry. Subscribe for more videos, it really helps the channel grow. Thanks for watching.